Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to Drinks and Daves. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, Dave. Hey, how was your day? You don't have a normal schedule. You got Mondays off, man.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday are the days I
Yeah.
take off. Monday is my barber errand day, so I run around. And today I did not shave until 3:45.
Oh, hi, Rich.
Hey,
Good
Rich
to
is
have you with us,
here.
Rich.
That's
Uh,
great.
so what did you shop for that you didn't need today?
Oh, it wasn't shopping; it was maintenance. I had to go to the shop. I did a deep cleaning in the shop, and then I had to have all my shears sharpened. I do that every 3 months. I have a guy
Wait,
that comes
so
out
you
and
went to
sharpens the
work on
shears.
your day off from work?
Well, not really to work. I mean, door was locked and nobody knew I was there other than the
Pants
shear
were off
sharpening
and the
guy.
music was going,
Absolutely.
shaking.
Watching The
Okay.
Price is Right on TV. So, well, we're going to do
Wow,
something. Oh,
Grandpa.
and yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? We've got a special guest here, and you know him very, very well. Gunther, the cigar gnome, is
Hey,
here today.
that's the grumpiest gnome in the world, that
Well,
one.
you gave him to me,
Yeah.
so so
Yeah,
we'll
man.
put him over here for the show.
Here
That
we
way,
got to
his
get to this. Now, that's not W.C. Fields in the background here, but this is a
no,
hilarious quote. Pat
yes,
her little feet around the house. Nothing like a midget for a butler.
that is
Totally
that.
inappropriate. That's
Dreamweaver,
awesome.
welcome, and everybody in the lounge, please say hello. And that is actually the Prime Minister of England during the World War II era, and actually before even World War II. And who is that, Dave? We'll let you tell him.
Well, you know what? I know who it is because they named a cigar size after him. That would be Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Yes, it was.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do. I hate history.
Do you really?
I mean, well, at least history class. Well, yeah, most of his. I mean, I like the history of like maybe jets and submarines and stuff like that.
Right.
But like, who fought who when? And I mean, I get that everybody has their likes and dislikes. Yeah, I
Well,
didn't.
the thing is too, the way I look at it is I am history. So
Uh,
so we're going to do something that we do every week, but we're going to add something to it. So as you all know, we ask you to put what you're drinking. And PB, I see you're drinking Craggamore 12-year-old. That's nice.
oh,
And
PB's my
but
man.
what are you drinking? What are you smoking? And what is on your wrist today?
Oh, look at you! You're showing off. What do you got? I know what
No,
you
you
got.
have to go first.
Oh, well, what I have is a notice, and see, I do the I don't do the green screen, so it's hard for. Oh, there
Right.
you go. You
Oh,
can
there you
see a
go.
little bit of it.
That's a good looking watch.
I like it. It's the numbers are raised up off the face and stuff. Yeah, this brand Notice. It's a micro brand that I like a lot. I got 3 of them, different colors. Yeah, and you got the Omega, right?
Yes, I am wearing the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean.
Beautiful.
In the orange and black, if Steven's out there, it's just for him. I don't think
With
he's
your
here
shirt
today.
matchy. I see that.
Well, this is actually red. This is my University of
Oh,
Arizona shirt. It should be
all
red.
right.
And what are you drinking?
What am I? I'm drinking. Holy cow! Looked at it twice so I wouldn't forget. Kilhoman is what I'm drinking. It's their Machier Bay. And as
Nice.
I've told you, so we're in a different location. I mean, it looks the same to you guys, but
Right.
normally I'm on the top deck. Today, that hurricane roaring through here said it might be a little bit breezy today. So I'm down here where it's a little bit more protected on the lower deck. And I didn't want to bring down the bottle and the glass and all that stuff. So no bottle today.
Oh, okay. And then what are you smoking?
The official cigar of Drinks and Daves, it's the Metropolitan Host.
Yes. So today I figured I'd slum it, and for those bourbon guys, I was hoping Chad was going to be here. For Christmas one year, my good buddy Dirt Nurse Dave over there gave me a glass that is etched that says Barber Dave's Premium Barrel Aged Whiskey with an E, so it has to be bourbon, and made in Tuscan, Arizona. Tuscon. But we won't go there for that because it's supposed to be Tucson, but that's all right. But what I'm doing is I am going real hillbilly today.
We won't go there right after he mentions that.
I'm going real hillbilly today. So I'm drinking a good bourbon. I am drinking Elijah Craig barrel proof. This is the B521. It's 118 proof. It's real good. But Just to drive my bourbon friends crazy, I'm drinking it as a bourbon and Coke with stevia Virgil's Cola.
Now, I think you can get that pre-mixed. I mean, it's an awful lot of work to mix your bourbon and your Coke. They sell it in a can now.
Oh yeah, I've seen that,
Right.
the cocoa. But this is easy
Jack
because you
and
go,
Coke, right?
here's the way I mix my bourbon and Cokes. Glug glug glug, drop a Coke. There.
Now,
And then
is
for my
Jack Daniels a bourbon?
I,
We don't know.
we
Okay.
yeah, we need somebody who knows bourbon because no. And I'm also smoking the official cigar of
Ah,
the Metropolitan Host. So, so, so we don't have a guest today, guys, but we do have. Well, let me get Gunther out of the way. Okay, and actually, he is sitting on top of single malt Scotch McRae's caramels,
there you go.
Scotch caramels, and I still have those Lafroig ones. But what I found out about those Lafroig ones
Yeah.
is if you let them being diabetic, you don't get them very often. But what I found out is they become excellent shot puts after a certain amount of time.
Oh,
Yeah, they
they
don't stay
become a
soft.
hard candy, huh?
Yes, they become a hard candy, but I still have them, and they're still the best. But anyhow, tonight we don't have a guest scheduled. We're still working on our special guest, which we will surprise you with. But when we do that, that's going to be an off Monday show. We're not sure when yet, and but we'll let you know. And so
Yeah,
we'll let
like
you
I
know
said,
on that one.
PB's my man. We're Scotch buddies. Mm-hmm. Scotch buddies.
So tonight, what we're going to ask you to do is we're going to ask our audience. We have 6 people in the lounge, so don't forget to tip your waitress. She should be able to get all your drinks because basically the bar is empty. But that's beside the point. Also, I do need to mention this. I know I said it before, but please, 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 if you have friends, family, dogs, cats, pterodactyls, bats,
If you happen to have friends,
yes, let them know to subscribe to Drinks and Dave's so we can pull these live shows onto our own channel. We're at 46 as of my last check, and we need 100. So
oh man,
it's not that many. It's 33. Did I do the math right? Okay,
it's like getting called for the team in PE, and it's like they're winnowing it down, and people just don't want to pick the Drinks and Days that's how it's making me feel, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is, the big thing is called the YouTube algorithm. Because until we get to where we can post these, the system doesn't recommend us to anybody. So if you guys know of anybody that I hate to say the word influencer because I hate using that word, but we need to get to 100. Once we get to 100, we'll be good. So
We'll be off like a rocket.
and that's just it. Once we get to 100, we're going to take off like the shuttle. It's just going to go. Now, granted,
The ones
shuttle
that made
program-
it back, those
Yes.
shuttles, not the other one. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to ask you guys, our barflies, to be interactive with us. I came up with an idea that I saw on a talk show. And whenever now Dave and I know each other pretty well, but there are things we don't know about each other. And a lot of times when you say that standard interview line, tell me about yourself, people kind of look and say, well, I was born a poor mom.
And I promised I wouldn't tell anybody about that mole. So that's still
Exactly. That's the main thing. And you won't have to worry about this. But I saw this on a show and I thought it was a neat idea, and it's called Mama's Kitchen. So what Mama's Kitchen is it takes you back, and what is, as a kid or as a young adult or even an adult when you go back for holidays, what is the one thing you remember about the kitchen? Now, this doesn't have to be your mom's kitchen. It could be your grandmother's kitchen. It could be your aunt's kitchen, whatever the case may be. But what is the thing that reminds you? Because as we know, during the holidays, kitchens a lot of times end up being the gathering place. Everybody just hangs out. So, I'm going to put you on the spot first. And I know you told me you hate bringing back memories. So what is the
No,
one...
I didn't say I hate it. I said, you're going to ask me about stuff from my childhood and I won't be able to remember anything to tell you.
Well, then do it because you've been... Well, I assume that you've been back to your mom's place since you were a kid.
Yeah.
So, is there one specific meal or one specific conversation or one specific thing that you remember about the kitchen of your house growing up or as you've
Well,
gone back?
so my parents like to say that their children remember the weirdest stuff. So some of the things that I remember, it has nothing to do with meals, but my dad has had a tried to do a garden one year, a pretty good sized garden, and I remember that when he brought in the broccoli, it had like bugs and stuff in it, and you put it in boiling water, I guess, just to kill the stuff, and all these like little worms and things rising to the top of the my mom was not happy about that. I
So,
remember that
so
from a
did you
pretty
hear
young
that?
age.
Did you hear tiny little voices
The
of the bugs
screaming?
doing this?
Yeah. Um, but I think the traditions have started since I was young because I remember, I grew up a poor black boy, as you may know. Um, but we didn't have a lot of money.
YouTube, the opinions expressed on Drinks and Daves do not necessarily.
I think that was wasn't that a Steve Martin
The
line?
jerk, yeah, the jerk, yep,
Yeah, okay.
the jerk. Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember things like that we wouldn't eat anymore, right? Like bologna. There's something brown Braunschweiger. Is that what it was?
Oh yeah,
It
liverwurst.
was like a
Oh
tuba brownie or
yeah,
bologna
yeah,
that you
yeah,
would cut up
yeah. Well, it
and
wasn't
put on
bologna. It was liver. Braunschweiger and
Braunschweiger.
yeah, it's liver. It's liver.
Yeah.
It's like a liver
Huh?
pate. Oh, I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay, so here, we'll point you a little bit further. So, if you could pick one breakfast item that you remember from your mama's kitchen, what would it be?
See, that's why I don't remember. I don't
So,
remember. But
but
know
you're
what I
pretty good. But
remember
you're pretty
is
good. You're pretty good with breakfast, though. So there
I
must be
am, but we didn't
something.
do the big eggs and stuff. The only breakfast thing I remember from before when I was on my own is for 1 year straight, one school year straight, I had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every morning for breakfast for 1 year straight.
And there's something wrong with that. How?
No, it's delicious. Well, that's why 1 year straight. Or the peanut butter and fluffernutter,
Yes, I know.
that's amazing. I think my
See,
dad taught me that one.
my Sharon, she does. Her mom would have actually fluffernutter, peanut butter, and mayonnaise. But
What?
that's what she did. But so for me, breakfast. It was always on Saturday because as you know, my dad was a physician, my mom was an RN, so they were both working. So my mom wasn't a homemaker. So breakfasts were usually Saturday morning. So I'd get up in the morning, my dad would be reading the paper, I'd be watching the cartoons, and then my mom would make French toast, exactly what Rich said. And it was but it was not the French toast like you see today with the stuffed with the orange marmalade and the cream. No, it was French toast, real simple, an electric skillet, bread that was soaked in
Yeah.
egg, and boom, boom, and then Aunt Jemima's, which I guess is
Oh
now
yeah,
called,
baby.
but they don't call it that anymore. It's called Jeremy's or something.
It's not, they didn't change the sex of Aunt Jemima.
No, but it's not called. It's
I
not
know.
called Aunt
Right,
Jemima
it's the name
anymore.
of the company or something now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
I
that
remember breakfast.
yes.
My dad
See?
would do pancakes, and we had a Fannie Farmer's cookbook. There was this little paperback that was so worn it would fall apart. But that was his thing, is it would fall apart to the pancake recipes by scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my dad would make pancakes, or sometimes he was responsible for dinner on Fridays, and it would be pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But homemade, like the dough, I think you got like Jiffy Mix
Mm-hmm.
pizza crust dough,
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and that's just it. And and yeah, the griddle they put on the table, and the same with the pancakes. And and nobody had these fancy squeeze the exact amount of pancake out. No, you had a cup, and you kind of poured it, and some of them would be burnt, some of them would be oblong. But like for me, breakfast was French toast or it was cereal. And unfortunately, when I was a little kid, this and people don't realize in grocery stores, the cereal aisle, and anybody who's been a parent understands this. The kids' cereals are at a certain level for a certain reason, because screamy little so and so is going to say, "I want Count Chocula," or "I want this," or "I want that." But I was weird. I went straight to the grape nuts. And
Okay, so how long did you let those things soak before you tried to chew them?
at least 3 minutes. Yeah, because there
Well,
was
that's not that long.
no, but there's a fine line between rocks,
Yeah,
little pebbles, and just enough crunch before they become just a
that's
paste.
true. It's like coffee, right? Cooling down, there's that two seconds where it's
Right.
optimum temp.
But
Same with
see,
that.
with grape nuts though, to me, the perfect breakfast to this day, I don't do it that much anymore. Grape nuts, English muffin with a boatload of butter, and orange juice. That to me is the perfect breakfast. So that was
Wait a
my breakfast.
minute. You go great nuts in 3 days.
Yeah, a
Wait,
certain
you'll have
individual I
grape
know
nuts
does not.
and an English muffin at the same breakfast?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Just and it had and it had to be a certain type. Usually, what was the name of those English muffins that had all the nooks and crannies? Thomas's English muffins, and that was that. But we would have eggs usually or French toast, and that was our Saturday breakfast. Now let's move on to the next meal. Lunch for me, 90% of the time was bologna and cheese sandwiches. That was it.
Wait,
That
what kind
was.
of cheese though? Was it in the
Oh
plastic
no!
wrap?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Singles? Yeah,
American
baby.
cheese type substance, and then
And
the
Miracle
bread
Whip.
would get Oh yeah, Miracle Whip, and the bread would get stuck to the roof of your mouth. Yeah,
Yes, that was the
and
best.
oh yeah, and then for dinner, my dad would cook steaks sometimes, or we would have chili. My dad he was like a chili aficionado, but my mom, being the fact that I had, I was a latchkey kid, so parents were both working. So did we eat out a lot? Yeah, but I remember one July 4th for dinner. It was my Uncle Tom's, which my dad's brother's anniversary. And my dad decided to go all out, and he went and bought a couple of cases of champagne. My cousin Cindy and I were there. We were, pretty little kids. Well, they started drinking champagne and drinking champagne and drinking champagne. And they put us, Cindy and I, little kids, up on the roof to watch the fireworks. Well, they kept drinking, and they actually forgot that we were on the roof. And so we're sitting there calling down. So we finally get down, and everybody was so plowed. And my mom was going to do a big, side dishes and corn on the cob. Well, my Uncle Tom and his wife get into a fight on their anniversary. My Aunt Dorothy starts crying. My Uncle Tom's mad. My dad is trying to cook steaks on this grill, and he's plowed. Now, I'm a little kid, and I'm understanding that Dad's having fun. My mom is in the deep end of our pool, but my mom doesn't know how to swim. And she's got one of those long, big floppy hats and a long cigar stick. How you used to put the cigars in there? And she's
Cigarette.
floating around the pool, and I'm thinking she's going to drown. And my dad lost the steak turner. And so he was turning the steaks with a flashlight. Oh, yeah, it got worse. Then my mom got so drunk, she passed out. Well, she didn't pass out. She laid down on the kitchen floor because she says it's so nice and cool down here. My dad, Tom, and my Uncle Tom and Dorothy left. So my dad had like 30 pounds of T-bone steaks charred to a crisp. And he was so upset that he called Tom. He said, "Get your ass over here. We're going to eat these steaks." And so literally they sat at the kitchen table and ate those briquettes that were steaks, and then I had to clean up the kitchen. It was horrible.
Wow.
It was
That's a beautiful memory, dude.
it's therapy for me to get it out.
All right, okay. You can move on now. You worked through that one. And so Life cereal. See, you gotta grow up on non-sweet cereal to eat this stuff. Because once
I
you're
never
into,
had
like
Life.
Lucky Charms and that kind of stuff, where you're like saving all those marshmallows to the end,
Oh yeah, and they
you
squeaked.
can't have like Cheerios with no sugar.
No.
Life cereal.
Oh well, to me, the cereals of the day and the ones that I remember are Cocoa Puffs. Count Chocula and Boo Berry and all those came later, but that and Lucky Charms. But then there was only like 3 marshmallows. You had the clover leaf, you had something else, but now there's like 17 marshmallows in that. But you're right, you'd save that, and then you'd eat those marshmallows, and they would squeak. They would squeak as you're eating
That
them.
would be you'd want them so that the outside's a little slimy, but you still got some dry inside.
And no, I never. I can honestly say I have never to this day had Ovaltine. I've
No.
never had Ovaltine.
I had that. They had like a carnation instant breakfast in like a paper packet. I did that. I don't
Well,
know
you know,
why.
and this is cool. Let's read. So we had blueberry, we have grape nuts. Let's see, PB. Yep. And we're going to ask Tig
Which is
Lily about.
Raisin Bran.
Yeah, we're going to ask Tig Lily about sauerkraut in a few minutes. Let's see what else.
Powdered milk and Bowtie's just wrong about this. I mean, warm milk with grape. I don't know. I
Now,
guess that's the,
now, as you get older, you know, like in college and the military, you know, any liquid will suffice for cereal. It could be beer, it could be whiskey, it could be water. Yeah, I mean, it could be, but you know, you said something that sparked a wonderful childhood memory. And there's actually a website, I think it's a Facebook page that has people clamoring for Nestle to come out. No, for Carnation, which actually I think got bought by Nestle, the Carnation Breakfast Bar. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember these. They were
Yeah.
crunchy. They weren't soft, they were crunchy. Oh, those were absolutely the best. The best.
All right. So this one, cornbread with milk and sugar. Never done that.
I think
But
Sharon
you
did
know,
that.
I used to, went from having your piece of cake with ice cream on the side and it would melt, and that would be the best part, is to just getting cake and pouring some milk on it, right? Just making it this big squishy, almost like a squishy brownie mix or something.
Well, kind of like a bread pudding.
I guess if it was chocolate cake and ice cream.
Well,
Oh,
but see,
yeah. It came in a can too, didn't it?
yeah, yeah. And then there was the malted milk.
Yes,
The
buddy.
Carnation malted milk was awesome as well.
I think we talked about that once.
Yeah.
That was
But see, these are the type of memories. And guys, please share. You know, if there's a food item that your parents made that, like now, see, I grew up where we'd go visit Puerto Rico, and my aunt, who was a nun, she would cook all the Puerto Rican food. So arroz con pollo, tostones, which are the plantains that are fried, the what they call the maduros, so the guineos, which are the sweet bananas that you fry up, which we had last night, as a matter of fact. So you know, it's amazing that there's certain things that that you can have that just bring back. I mean, food is that one thing that no matter what happens in the world, food is the one thing that we all have in common. Meaning, you know, there are memories about food that will always bring things up. Like Sharon talks about how it's either her grandmother, and she'll have to post it, but either her grandmother or her grandfather would make sauerkraut, but it would always have to be on a full moon. And I guess there's some juju
the
when it comes to
werewolves?
make. I guess she'll have to post it because, and I'm sure that Dreamweaver probably remembers that too. Grits and
So-
gravy. Yep.
now. I heard about grits, right? And if you saw the movie, My Cousin Vinny, you heard about grits. Well, we don't have grits out here, and that's grits, right? Homony's the big thing. Yeah, grits is the soupy white one. And so I ordered grits at a restaurant.
That's
one.
actually my dancing name. Soupy,
Soupy
white,
white
one.
one. Watch me wiggle, and it won't stop. But can I say they've got no flavor? I don't understand grits.
Well, that's like cream of wheat. People say, "Oh, the cream of wheat was like taking sandpaper and just putting some milk on it and throw it. There was nothing to it."
I mean, I guess if you're putting gravy on it, it's a vehicle to make eating gravy straight kind of like okay, right? It's like you couldn't just have a bowl full of gray sausage gravy, but if you put it on grits, it's okay. I don't know.
Well, Rich made a comment earlier about cookie jars. And he's right. There was, like my mom, we would have different cookie jars depending on the time of year. So we had one that it said cookies across it, and it was ceramic or porcelain, I guess, back then, and it looked like a barrel. It looked like a wooden barrel, and it said cookies on it. And that, I remember coming home from school, and the first thing you do is beeline for that, open it up, and see what's in there with a nice ice cold glass of milk. And that's another thing, milk. And I think we've talked about this before. The milk out of the machines in the bags was the best milk
Well,
ever.
you didn't have that at home. Your
No,
mama
no,
didn't have no bag milk.
no. But we'd go down to Kresge's or something like that, or and eat that. So it was good.
Rich's Japanese mom made the best Italian food, by the way. Which there's probably a whole. I guess we have to have. Oh my gosh! If we had Rich on here, first of all, we'd have to have the bleep out button ready, and then
True.
you know.
That's true.
So I will say because I can't leave my mom is a great cook and she'll experiment and all that. It's just that I don't remember. I mean, I remember. I'm sure she cooked also. I remember meatloaf covered in ketchup on top
Oh
when I was a kid.
yes. To
Yes,
this day, yep.
and but like mac and cheese and
Hmm.
some of that. But the one thing that to me that she's known for, and it's a Christmas thing, is that do you know poppy seed filling?
Yeah.
So so two stories. One
Hmm.
not with my mom. So she makes some cookies and some bread with poppy seed filling. Excuse me. And I love that stuff. So one time when I was in college, sometimes I would, as a treat to myself, I'd buy a can of poppy seed filling and just eat it by the spoonful, right? Like half a can one day, half a can the next day. I freaked myself out because I got some job and had to go to get drug tested after eating half a can of poppy seed filling. And I thought, what a lord of crap this sounds like when I had to say, so I just ate half a can of poppy seed filling.
And
I
they're like,
think
sure you did.
luckily, I passed. But I'm like, yeah, they're going to be like, right, who eats half a can of anyway? So she makes this bread. It's like a dough, and then you put poppy seed filling in it, and then fold it over, and then
Okay.
bake it. Right, so it's kind of flat and wide when you slice it with poppy seed filling in the middle. And my dad and I love the poppy seed filling, and so kind of she was encouraged to push the limits of that recipe year after year and see how much she can put in there and still have it bake all the way through. So every Christmas we get a couple loaves of this poppy seed bread just stuffed full. This stuff's just
Oh,
oozing out, and it is, yeah.
oh wow.
Again, a vehicle to get that filling into your
Well,
mouth.
there's somebody I know, and I won't mention any names, but if you know those chubs of
Don't say that word.
I didn't say chubby, I said chubs
It's,
of Pillsbury chocolate chip cookie, the
oh yeah,
tubes
yeah, in
of
the
it. Yeah.
tube. Yeah.
Somebody I know will actually open that up and just spoon out the raw cookie dough.
Oh,
I have never been into that.
really?
I no, I can't
What
do.
about when
That's like
you
cookie
make?
dough ice cream.
What if you make cook? What if you're making your own chocolate chip cookies? Do you
Right.
take your finger in there and get some dough
No,
and?
no, no,
Oh,
no. She
hey,
does. She does. But no, no. But then again, there is a sandwich that I like, and you will hear probably if you listen quiet enough, if you listen just right, after I say this, you'll hear somebody probably do
Gretchen.
this. Probably do this.
It's too quiet.
It is too quiet.
David's too quiet.
I know. Peanut butter and bread and butter pickle sandwich. It is so good. It is so good.
So I
Now,
have learned that when people say crazy ass stuff like that, you can't say that's terrible until you've tried it.
right,
Because I
right.
had a babysitter that would put peanut butter on a slice of cheddar cheese,
Yes,
and
I've
that
done that.
sounds awful. And she said, "Well, you got to try it first." And it's not. I don't do it myself, but it wasn't awful.
Well, actually, PB puts a good comment up that says that all of us of a certain, if they watch the Carol Burnett show, yeah, there was tons of recipes with Jello molds, and they had all kinds of stuff. Like, I'm sorry, pistachio Jello with carrots and raisins. Why?
Yeah, buddy.
Why?
Well,
Why?
I told you that growing up in the church, it was potluck city.
Sure,
And back then, it was casseroles and stuff like that for the desserts.
sure.
Jello in every different mold shape, and And
Well, one thing that, growing up here in the Southwest, one of the Mexican traditions is you take scrambled eggs, you mix
I'm with
them and
you.
fry them up with refried beans, and you
What
add
do you
hot
call it?
sauce. It's just
Is
refried
that
beans
chili
and
relleno? No, wait,
no,
wait,
no,
wait,
no, no,
wait.
no, no. It's just refried beans and eggs, and then you take a tortilla and you just get a bowl of this stuff, and you take the tortilla with your hand and just dip it in there. Now, every time I have that, and here is the word that is used every time I do that:
That,
muck.
is that what it's called?
No,
No.
but that's what
Oh,
she thinks it is. It's mucky, is what she says. But it's funny that there's little tiny things that you try. That's like a lot of people don't like ramaki. I love ramaki.
I've heard that word. What the heck is that?
Chicken liver wrapped in bacon with water chestnuts.
Oh yeah,
Oh
those are
God,
good.
it's the best.
Oh my god, and the texture of a water chestnut. If you can work that into any meal, those hardly ever get used. But I love that crunch.
I've never tried a peanut butter and banana sandwich. However,
What?
wait a minute. I do a modified version of that. I'll take a spoon, Jif crunchy peanut butter, and
Yeah.
a banana, and I'll take the spoon, take the peanut butter, top it on
All
top of the
right.
banana, and then eat it. So I just don't use the bread. I'm carb friendly.
Yeah. My dad was into peanut butter and banana sandwiches when I was a kid. I remember that. They're not, you know, I was a kid, so I preferred the marshmallow, but I do the peanut butter from time to time.
Water chestnuts and a spinach dip,
Oh,
absolutely.
that'd be
And
good.
Tig Lily makes a incredible spinach dip in a bread bowl with sourdough bread. It's just wonderful. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
So
go ahead.
no, I'm looking for somebody posted. No, Dreamweaver SOS on a toast. Now my grandpa was in the Navy, and they had this on the ships apparently, or
Chip
wherever
beef
he
on.
was stationed,
Well,
and
SOS.
it's good. I
Well,
like
see,
it.
SOS and it should be noted that Dreamweaver and Tig Lily are related. But the fact of the matter
Oh,
is SOS to me was always bleep on a shingle, which was
right.
chip beef on toast, and that's something
Oh,
you could find in a can. But when I got married, I found that SOS was actually sausage gravy on toast. So
yeah.
and she makes it with a sage sausage, lots of pepper, beautiful gravy on toast. Oh, it's fantastic. Just
Okay, I
good
got
stuff.
another. I got another weird memory from a kitchen. It's my grandparents' kitchen, though. My grandpa, he was a very what do you call the crazy rich people? They're not crazy. They're
Shavers. Oh,
ah, you know what I'm saying, right? That crazy in a good way. He wasn't rich, but he would
eccentric.
have eccentric. Yes, he was very eccentric. This guy, and he would have half of a grapefruit every morning for breakfast. Every single day. Not a big deal, right?
That
But
was my
what he
mom.
had was a grapefruit tie. So because it can squirt, and he didn't want to get it on his clothes. So he had this thing that looked like a big clown tie, and it had an elastic that went around
So it
his
was a
neck.
bib. It was a
It was a
bib.
bit, and he hung it up on the wall, and it drove my mom nuts because they would never get washed. It would come off the wall onto his neck. He'd eat his grapefruit and then back on the wall until the next morning. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
no,
good one.
it's so funny when you think, because I don't know about. I'm sure your parents both worked, and my parents worked. So it was a lot of times it was like a carnation breakfast bar and out the door with a glass of milk.
Mm.
But then we could cheat because in high school we never went to the cafeteria. That wasn't cool. You had to go to the snack bar because the
Oh,
snack bar you could buy what you wanted, and they had those burritos. Now the
oh,
substance
yeah,
that
the deep fried ones.
oh God, you don't know what was in them, and it didn't matter. It did not matter. They were just delicious.
Yeah, yeah. They're talking about fried tomatoes here now. I
I
think
never,
I've only had them
that's
once.
yeah. See, that's a south thing. We never had fried green tomatoes. We never had fried red tomatoes, but we did have tomatoes with almost every dinner. My mom would slice up tomatoes, salt and pepper. That was almost a standard with every meal.
Yeah, Rich says do the red ones. Don't you do green ones because they're firmer, so they'll hold up to the breading and the frying and all that stuff? I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so those type of things, and I remember popcorn was a big thing. Jiffy Pop,
Mm.
Jiffy Pop was a big thing in our house.
No, my parents, they would sneak the popcorn into the movie theater in a brown paper bag. I remember that one.
My dad used to get so mad at my mom because we'd go to a movie, and at the time we had like two major movie theaters on the east side of town, and my mom would want to see this movie, bug my dad about going to see the movie, and then a quarter way through the movie, my dad would look over, my mom's dead asleep. Just out.
How did you make the popcorn? You would do the Jiffy Pop?
Oh yeah, we did the Jiffy Pop.
Oh. No, we did the big pot on the stove with the oil in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Dad would have to keep that sucker moving to keep all the things, and then the lid would be on it, and it would pop up so high, push the lid off, and it became a whole.
Now
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was
know
a good
until I
time.
was an adult that people would take either M&Ms or Reese's peanut butter pieces and throw that in the popcorn and shake it up, and
Yeah, I've
we
seen
never did
that.
that.
I've never even tried that before.
Yeah, it's
Old fat.
just old fashioned popcorn. Well,
And
we
so we
have
do,
kettle corn is real big out here.
but you don't make that at home, right?
No,
You get it at the
there's people
farmer's
that make it,
market or
right. Hmm.
in the big old with the.
Right.
Yeah.
The copper
We,
kettles.
we learned from somebody. So my dad used to either put the oil in and then put the popcorn in, and then you put it on high, right? And it would be all covered in the grease and all that stuff. We learned from somebody, I think when I was in college, that the way you do it to be healthy is you heat up the oil, and when it feels like it's getting hot, then you throw a kernel in,
Hmm.
and if it pops within a few seconds, then you put in all your popcorn because then it's not sitting there soaking in the oil.
That's true.
That
I
was
think yeah, well that's like I never knew how to make, aside from instant rice, how to make regular rice.
your rice cooker. That's how.
Well, yeah, but and again, the way this technical engineered way I've seen on how to make rice is you put a cup of rice in and you fill the water above the rice by just like a quarter of an inch. That's it. Leave it alone. Don't mess with it. And then you come
Okay,
back and it's got little holes all over it. Boom, your rice is
that's
done.
right.
And I've
Yeah,
just
that's a delicate balance, though.
yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever made it in a pot. It's always been rice cooker or oh, you like Mexican food, you'd love this. You get those bags with the already cooked Mexican rice and you
Mhm.
rip the corner and you throw it in the microwave for 90 seconds. Boom, you're done.
Yes.
Authentic
Well, see,
Mexican rice.
unfortunately, I don't get rice as much. Well, I shouldn't be eating rice anyways, but I don't get rice as much as I should because a certain individual hates rice, hates it.
How
Yeah, I know. What you just that look on your face was perfect. It's like it's one of those things that your brain cannot wrap itself around. How can you
is it
not
wait,
like
is
rice?
it texture?
I don't know.
Because it can't be the
You will have
flavor.
to ask her yourself.
Yeah, because there's right there. That's one. I mean, I get that there's more flavor in rice than grits for sure,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's a very bland flavor. So to hate that is pretty
Yeah, but see,
extreme.
there's so many different things you can do with rice. Like in Puerto Rican cooking, the best part of the rice is the burnt rice on the bottom. They call it pagao. And I know in Iranian and Persian cooking, they actually make a dish where you brown the bottom and you flip the thing over.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, and so we had this conversation. We went out and had Indian food today. They have an Indian buffet,
Mm.
really good food,
Oh,
and basmati rice and all that
mhm.
other stuff. And we have the conversation about rice all the time. So maybe Tig Lily will expand and tell us why rice is verboten in.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean,
Either that or I'm
everybody's
gonna get
got.
hit with a shoe. One of the two.
I'd pay money to see that on a live stream. All right,
But
so then desserts because from what I've seen, non I don't. I'm gonna step in some poop probably, but non-American desserts tend to be not as sweet, not as
mhm.
gooey. You see Mexican pastry dessert things that are like these just dough balls with some like cracked pink sugar stuff on top that tastes like almost nothing. So what kind of dessert stuff did you have?
Well, when I was growing up, the dessert we had was, well, some of the stuff was Puerto Rican stuff. So we had pan dulce, which is a sweet bread. What they do is they take French, like a French baguette, they soak it in a sweet milk, and then they let it dry, and then they put cinnamon and sugar on it. But when I was growing up, whatever, if you had leftover rice from your dinner, because we had rice a lot during when I was growing up, with steaks or pork chops, and we'll get into the hamburger helper stuff in here in a minute. But so any rice that we had left over would go in the fridge, and then what you would do is you'd take milk, sugar, and cinnamon, and
Oh
mix
yeah.
that up.
Oh, that's
And it
good.
was
Yeah.
yeah. But yet, what's funny is this same individual that we've been speaking of loves tapioca pudding.
I can respect that.
I can't do tapioca pudding because every time I think that there's like some type of larva in the
No, that's
in
fun to squish it around and
no,
squish it at your
no,
teeth.
absolutely not. No.
What the heck is a tapioca though?
I don't know. See, that's the problem. All I'm saying is I think they pulled the legs off a termite and said, let's call it tapioca. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam's here. I bet you Sam has got some really good stuff from Newfoundland because they eat like fish that's been
Yeah. Salted fish
salted
lollipops and
gefilte
stuff.
fish and stuff.
It's not. I don't think it's really.
Bubble
Tapioca
tea,
can't be an actual.
bubble tea. I think you meant boba tea, right, Rich?
Well, it's called both.
Oh, is it? I did
Oh,
not know
this is
that.
this
Oh,
is the hotbed of boba here. Let me tell you that. I don't know how many different chains of bubble tea / boba we've got, but it's insane. So somebody could. Where's our Google folks? Somebody needs to look up what tapioca is and post it in the.
but
Well, that's basic
notice
knowledge for us.
I know I'm in trouble because the comment about rice has not been addressed by a certain individual in our Barfly lounge, so I know I'm in trouble. That much I do know.
Fair enough. It's a grain. She says it's a grain. So it's a round grain? That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's
It's squishy.
but PB says it
Okay,
right.
so
It's
how
like
do you feel about
fish eyes. What?
It's not fish eyes. How do you feel about caviar then?
I love caviar.
All right. Because
Now
that's a little bit more
but I
extreme.
also one thing that I'm not allowed to open in the house is kimchi. I love kimchi, love it, but I cannot open up in the house.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think if you're smoking a cigar at the same time, it would just cover it up. And boy, that was an awful combination. I don't think I'd eat kimchi with your cigar. I wouldn't
No, that
suggest
could be. But I remember when I was stationed in Korea, you could in the summer months you could actually smell the kimchi pots fermenting. That was a special flavor.
Aren't they in the ground?
Yeah, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Wow.
So you were asking me about desserts.
Yeah.
Before I was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic,
Says the guy who's into rice and just went in.
well, see,
Indian
that's just
style.
it, and that's what makes it. See, here we have our
Here's the
aficionado.
full answer.
Oh,
What?
yes, right there. Tapioca is a starch extracted from the storage roots of the cassava plant.
Made into little balls, apparently.
Yeah. But no, that's the problem. There's certain things that I love to eat that now are considered verboten, and I still eat them. But like desserts, to me, one of the best desserts for me is Baskin and Robbins, 31 flavors, baseball nut, French vanilla ice cream, cashews, and black raspberry ribbon. It's incredible.
There you go. And nothing's changed. Is she saying that in response to you still eat ice cream?
Well, I've been trying to get better. I really have. I was doing really well for a while. I really was. And but
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where it's like, well, you and I have had this conversation because we're in the same boat, and but you can't stop living, even though by not stopping living it could
Kill
affect
you.
you. Yeah,
Kill you.
exactly. It could kill you.
Kill you.
But I would bet that Pantea has all kinds of wonderful memories from Mama's kitchen because I've seen some of the things you guys have cooked.
I'm sure we'll all let her put in the chat, but she was latchkey kid too.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of stuff was on her own. Yeah, she's a world class chocolate, Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, Baskin Robbins. But the thing is, it used to be. Well, we used to also go to Thrifty, and Thrifty had the square, literally the square scoops. It was 33 cents for a triple, and their chocolate malted crunch was one of the best.
What is this? You're getting called out, I think.
There was a wagon.
Describe that. Oh man. That's quote of
Wow,
the day. That's quote of the
wow,
day. Awesome.
wow. See, Pantea remembers the chocolate malted crunch. Oh, it was the best. And we actually have a brand new Thrifty that opened up in one of our malls, and they're selling the same ice cream,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat. But yeah, desserts here, the Mexican pastries and stuff like that. A lot of it were cookies. A lot of jelly stuffed pastries and stuff like that. And then we haven't even gone down the donut road yet. I mean, donuts were just incredible.
Really?
I love donuts, but see, I like the maple, and
Yeah.
that's something that I will never be able to have because a certain individual hates maple.
The list is getting longer. Right? I mean, well, come on. You go to the donut place. It's not like you guys have to share the same donut.
No,
I think you'd
but
be okay.
but maple is so good. Like a maple long john. Remember those in school?
Yeah. Would you fill it or not fill?
No, non-fill, non-fill. Just
Yeah, almost never fill. But if you filled it, not with the custard, but with the white cream stuff, talk about decadent. That was so easy, easy, buddy.
sorry.
That would be so sweet. Your teeth would hurt.
Hmm.
That was awesome. That's me. That's what my desserts were. The sweeter, the gooey, chocolate sauce, whatever dripping off the
Hmm.
sides, filling squirting out or whatever.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like to this day, one of my favorite desserts is a peanut butter parfait from Dairy Queen.
Mm,
Those Spanish peanuts, the salty and the
yeah, yeah.
sweet. But I have a question for people that to see if we can get an answer. In elementary school, when you'd go to the cafeteria, every once in a while they would have, you'd have your green beans, you'd have your meatloaf type substance and whatever. But for dessert, there was this little square. It was topped with chocolate, but it looked like it had carrots, but it wasn't carrots, but
What?
you know what I'm talking about? It was a little
Wait a
chocolate square that was just amazing.
Now there's special K bars that are like orange and peanut butter flavor with chocolate on
Yes,
top. That's
something like
those,
that. Yeah, that's what
so
they were.
so when I lived in the dorms when I started college, they would rotate their menus, and I don't remember if it's once or twice a month. For lunch, they would have grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup, which was my favorite. And for dessert, it was those things. So on the
Yes.
same day, you would be full up of, and you'd eat. So rule, the proper way to eat a grilled cheese sandwich with tomato soup is to put so many crackers in there, the soup gets thick enough to scoop up with this. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So you
And
would get sick of,
oyster crackers had to be oyster crackers or
sorry,
saltines. You could do
we had
both.
salt, yeah. But you'd have a couple of those sandwiches in a big bowl of tomato soup and be full. And then you still had to
That little
shove down as many of those bars because you couldn't take the food away from, the cafeteria.
right.
Oh, every single time they had that, I was so sick afterward.
Because the thing is, a lot of people have said, well, it's kind of like a homemade version of a Butterfinger, but that wasn't it either. There was something about it that was
Mm-mm.
different. And I can't remember what it was, but to this day, we will do that. We'll have grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup. And
Okay,
yes,
I remember.
PB,
Yes, TV dinners
yes,
in the metal trays
in the
with
metal
the metal
trays.
top. Yes.
But
Oh,
the brownie, there was a very, very thin line when that brownie was either overcooked or
yeah.
undercooked, and you had to get it just right. And I
Yeah.
always used to get mad because on the meatloaf TV dinner, there was, of course, this nuclear orangey red sauce that was on top of the meatloaf because it was
Right.
obviously a pressed meat substance. But then you'd get ripped off because it would be like stewed apples. That's not a dessert. Come on.
Wait,
That's not a dessert.
didn't it have a quarter inch of like cake underneath the stewed apples? Mine
And
was
the green
Salisbury
beans,
steak, which I
yes.
don't know what that is, but
No. And then the green beans would always have that squeakiness to them.
grilled cheese with onion, green
Yes.
chilies, and now see now you're
Yes.
into that sounds like it could be better, but that's not grilled cheese anymore. Grilled cheese is just now. Have you done grilled cheese with mayonnaise on the outside instead of butter?
No,
Have you
I
heard
have
of that?
not. No.
Have you heard? So that was a social media thing for a while, and I tried it, and it works. So instead of butter, you put a thin layer of mayonnaise on the outside and grill it. It doesn't taste like mayonnaise, but it crunches up so much better
Really?
than doing it. Give it a shot.
We'll
Swear
have
to
to
God.
do that. Well, we do something that is called cheese nip chicken. And what you do is boneless breasts of chicken, and when I made them, I read the recipe wrong, and I didn't realize that it was like 4 tablespoons of butter. For some reason, I thought it was 4 sticks of butter, just a little off. And then yeah, and then you put that, and I think it's mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, and I think it's mayonnaise and cheese nips. The cheese crackers.
The square
Oh,
one?
it is so good. It is so good. Yeah, it's like cornflake chicken. Yes, it's very similar to cornflake chicken.
Yep. So this is something I had growing up. Egg salad sandwiches. Oh, babe, those were delicious too. You'd pile on the egg salad just as high as you possibly can. That's not going to fall out when you bite into it.
Well, we could, and then we have to talk about casseroles. Tuna casserole. That was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a staple, and it had to be in our when we were growing up. It was potato chips, but we have altered that, and we use rice checks now, and that works really good.
Interesting.
Yes, that works.
It's got a
really
different flavor to it.
good. Yes, it's a little bit. Or actually, we don't use. We use. What the heck's the name of the cereal? Not Chex. It's a different one. In fact, I don't even know if they make it anymore. But
Yeah. So PB has a good point that when you have the TV dinners, you had to. Did you have the TV trays? We had the brown ones that you slide it out right and put it on the. That was a luxury to be able to eat in the living room on a TV tray.
oh yeah, exactly. And now we do it regularly.
That's because
Crispix.
we don't
it.
have kids. We have to wait for the kids to be gone, and then we can. Yeah.
Crispix. That was the name of it. But Sharon makes an incredible cheese enchiladas and cheese enchilada casserole and stuff like that. So Sharon could eat Mexican food 7 days a week. I can't, as much as I'd like.
Without the rice. One big burrito, hold the rice.
Yes, burritos are like the perfect food, though. They really are.
Do you have California burritos there
Oh yeah, absolutely.
with the French fries in them?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, where did that come from?
Speaking of potatoes, my dad, that part of that memory when we were kids on a Saturday morning, my dad would make, and it had to be in a cast iron skillet. He'd make these home fries. So you'd take potatoes and cut them really, really thin, cook them with onions, and maybe sometimes green bell peppers, and just those onions would get nice and crispy, or the potatoes would get nice and crispy. Oh, well, we know that a certain individual in Pantay are going to get along really, really well.
So this is the thing, though. I need to learn to cook other Mexican foods because, in general, we do Taco Bell Mexican at home, right? You've got the same ingredients in different shapes, so you can make tacos. Fajitas are a little different. You don't do usually refried beans for our fajitas. It's the peppers, onions, meat, and the thing, or nachos.
Right.
And that's about the extent of the Mexican.
Well, see, Sharon will do a chicken or a green chili cheese casserole, but we found a cheap way to do it. You go down and you get the Monterey green chili burritos that come in a 12-pack. You take a baking dish.
Well,
You
wait,
lo-
those are the ones that cost like 99 cents a piece.
Yeah, these are like what we used to have in high school. Yeah, you're not sure exactly what the meat type substance is in the middle of them, but who cares? And you take those and you layer them in. Well, the first thing you do is you take a 6x9 or a 9x9 baking pan. You put them in the bottom, and then you put a little bit of red, or you can use green, but red enchilada sauce. and then you put the burritos on top, and then you put more enchilada sauce, and you coat it with like an inch and a half of cheese. Throw it in the oven, 350 degrees, 20 minutes, and you have heaven.
Okay, so what's this? Potato enchiladas.
Oh, they're so good. You
You're
have
not
to
allowed to eat,
explain now,
you're
Tig
not
Lily.
allowed to eat half this stuff, you
Well,
know.
we haven't had potato enchiladas in a long, long
Okay.
time, but she will have to expand. So, Tig Lily, please expand what a potato enchilada is.
All right, so this, yeah, there was both. There was Trix was the colored ones with the rabbit, and then there was, and then the, right, and then there was Kix, which was just the like Cheerios except in a ball
Yeah, it was
shape,
a puff.
pretty
It was a
much.
puff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with almost no flavor whatsoever. Again,
So Tig Lily says basically instead of using the meat, you use potatoes. But that's a very simplistic version of
well, it sounds like you're
potato
halfway to a
enchilada.
breakfast burrito at that point. Potatoes and eggs and chorizo.
Chorizo. And there's nothing like, and see, the chorizo that we use is actually, it looks like meat. A lot of people use the chorizo that comes in those tubes, where the first three ingredients are chicken lips, lymph nodes, and some
So
other kind of.
So you learned to me about that, and then I forgot I bought them, but I was at one of our foofy grocery stores, and they had chorizo, in the
The tube.
not in the tube, looked like a hot dog, right? It's chorizo that you could cook on the grill or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, you
But
could
you could
slice it,
cut it
right?
open and take the chorizo out, and so I
Right.
got that to do nachos with real chorizo, and
Ooh.
totally forgot I bought those, and we'll have to try that again. Poverty. Poverty. First, you're going to start with $5 worth of frozen burritos.
Yeah, those are poverty enchiladas, and they're so good. They're so good. But no, we'll have guacamole tostadas. Well, if it was up to a certain individual, we would have guacamole tostadas every day of the week.
Yeah.
And it's real easy. She'll take the corn tortillas, throw them in the oven, get them just crispy, and then basically make the guacamole and lettuce, guacamole, cheese, and that's it.
Wait, do you put them? You put them in the oven
Well, you put
to
the
melt the
you
cheese,
put
or no?
no you don't. You just put the
It's
corn
all it's
tortillas in
all
the oven.
raw.
Yeah, you put the corn
You
tortillas in
raw
there, get
dog
them
that stuff
crispy, and
on
then
you.
everything else is raw.
All right, those are tough to
Because
eat though.
well, you learn that you know where to bite because if you bite in the wrong spot, they'll explode. So
Yeah,
you just kind of but to me, to her anyways, guacamole is a food group.
I'm down with that.
Yeah,
The tough
avocados are a
part
food
is
group.
you gotta be an avocado expert, which she very well could be,
She is.
because here you buy your avocados rock hard, and just like everything we're talking about, there'll be like 4 days they're too hard, one day they're going to be perfect, and then you're going to start seeing like bruises on them and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
so you kind of need a constant rotation of new
Oh yeah,
avocados.
we've had avocados that have gone way past where they should be.
Yeah.
But see, here we're lucky because we have not only the Taco Bell type fast food, but we also have this place called Lido's, which is right up the street, which is more of a homemade Mexican fast food. And you can get 5 rolled taquitos with guacamole and cheese for $5, and that's
Nice.
that's a couple times a week.
So what do you do for lunch? Do you take leftovers to the shop and you got a little microwave? And
No, I actually I try to be as diabetic friendly as possible. So I try to take like I'll take some cheese and some a protein bar or something like that because usually I'm busy, so I don't take a lunch per se. I just kind of eat on the run.
yeah, at least one meal a day should be the way you're supposed to be eating.
Well, I do that, yeah, when we get home usually.
All right.
But it
Okay, so here's another thing I remember. So PB mentions homemade queso. I don't know where my parents got this from, but they did a cheese dip that I love. I can't remember. I mean, all I can think of is I can't imagine they let us have it for dinner, but the cheese dip was just a big block of Velveeta cheese that you
Yep.
put in the pot and melt it, and then you put in diced up tomatoes and
Mm-hmm.
onions and maybe some
Rotel.
salt or something.
Rotel. Yep.
That is so
Oh,
good.
the other thing you do is there's two types of Velveeta now. There's the white cheddar, and then there's the regular, the standard regular Velveeta. You chop that up, put it in the crock pot, then take a can of green chilies, whatever heat you like, throw that in there, and that's the way we used to have it all the time. Yeah, 1970s fondue basically. But then we found that if you take either a spicy sausage or chorizo and put that in the dip.
Well, that's fancy, right?
Oh, but yeah,
Do
but
you
all you
still
need is,
buy Velveeta?
oh yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think I
Okay.
still have some Velveeta somewhere in the refrigerator. That's probably
That's,
still good.
I don't think I've had that since I was a kid.
Oh, Velveeta's
No,
good
wait.
stuff.
Tell me you're not still buying the cheese product slices that are the plastic wrap you have to. You're not
No,
still getting
no,
those, are
we've got we do
you?
have I'm sorry. Kraft American cheese makes the best grilled cheese sandwiches. It really does.
Yeah. All right.
I never had a grilled cheese with Velveeta. We usually just had the dip.
The thing about that though is that stuff's got to melt like crazy. So that would be like you could pull it apart and it would be all gooey and stuff.
Well, now I found another way to make a grilled cheese sandwich. So you use your standard Kraft, you do it, butter both sides of the bread, put the cheese on, and then you take cheddar cheese that's been shredded, put that on it and flip it over, and then you have a burnt cheese crust for
Oh,
the grilled
yeah.
cheeses.
Some fancy restaurants do it this way. Now, my we used to have fondue when I was a kid. I
Yeah.
remember that in the white ceramic fondue pot. So I did that once for the girls here. They didn't like it. I think because the cheese you use tends to be sharper, right? More
Right.
intense flavor and stuff.
Right. Or you use, because we used to have a restaurant here in town that was a
Mm.
fondue. That was what they did.
Yeah.
It was a fondue
Oh, but that's
restaurant.
yeah. Was
But
it what the heck did they call? We had
I
a
mean, it was like
chain here too,
yeah, it was like a 4 hour. I mean, it wasn't, you weren't,
and many hundreds of dollars if you
yes,
had a whole.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
which is weird because it was just cheese and a plate of vegetables.
Maybe a little
And
bit of meat that you put in the hot oil,
yeah.
you
Do you
know.
do hot pot? Do you guys have hot pot there? You probably do.
We have not done a hot pot.
Oh, I enjoy the same idea, right? You pick your own broth, and they got a heater at your table that keeps it super hot, and then you order like very thin sliced meats and stuff like that. And then you put them in there, and it's very good. But same thing, it costs way more than it
Yeah.
should for what you're getting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, but I remember one thing, on my dad's side, which was German. My dad loved kielbasa, sauerkraut, and dumplings. Just German, German, German. It was just good, good stuff.
That would be good. My grandma used to make a stew and put dumplings on top that would cook right with
Yeah, you make them with
the
Bisquick.
stew.
Yeah,
That was good stuff. Yeah.
but
Man,
yeah,
I'm
it's
hungry.
amazing how some of the foods, that we get. Like candy bars. To me, candy bar is the only one that it's always going to be Snickers. It's always going to be Snickers. I mean, to me. Now on Sharon's side, the Butterfinger is her favorite.
I can get down with almost any candy bar. See, that's where you're into the chocolate gooey, all that. Whatchamacallits. There used to be that
Yes.
score bar that was just that hard.
Yes, the
Yeah.
toffee. Yes, and
Yes.
then also, if you remember, the original Mars bar was almonds and nougat. That was it.
Yeah.
There wasn't any caramel, or it was just
I don't think I've seen a Mars bar.
yeah.
That con-
They would go way back, and then anything with hazelnut. Like, I'm sorry, if there is a jar of Nutella in this house, it will not make it very long.
Yeah, the,
It
the
just
the
won't.
girls, if when they were in like middle school, they would go nuts for breakfast. It would just be a piece of bread coated in this sugar-filled Nutella, and it'd
Well,
be
see,
gone.
Dreamweaver just this is what I was talking about. Dreamweaver mentioned it that a full moon
Mhm.
ancient family secret for homemade sauerkraut. And I have never experienced it from what Sharon and Dreamweaver say, it was magical. But they also make, and Sharon's made it a few times, they make a hot coleslaw. It's coleslaw, but it's made warm, and it is incredible. And then she also makes something called fried corn, where you actually
Mhm.
you take ears of corn, and you have to have a cast iron skillet for this. And you take ears of corn and you cut all the kernels off, and then this sounds kind of weird because it's not politically correct, but you milk the cob. I swear to God. I swear to God, yes, you milk the cob
Yeah.
and you fry the corn up with pepper. Oh, we had it a few weeks ago. But the problem is, once again, it's corn, which means that I'm watching my blood glucose level go crazy. And yes,
Yeah.
what Rich says about moon pies, but interesting, something coffee crisp. I don't even know what those are. Please explain.
You
Explain.
ever heard?
No, I
So
don't
I
know.
was going to bring this up, and that's what's weird. Hey,
Sorry.
so coffee crisp, and then right, it's only in Europe and Canada. Why? That's what's weird. Is that these not just this, but many foods, right? I mean, I get that tastes are different, but especially like here in Canada, like all of a sudden at that northern border, our taste buds change, and like they're not going to like the same things we like, and vice versa, and it's kind of weird, right?
Well, it is, but the first time I had poutine, now I know why they like it so much. I mean, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, so that we got to expand. So at some point we have to, we've talked about this. It's a done deal that we'll set up a barber shop slash Scotch cigar bar
Slash.
somewhere, and it has to serve poutine as a bar snack.
Yes. Well, but actually, knowing how from the Persian background of Panteja, that we've talked about this already. That food that it's not a kebab. Well, I guess is it
It
considered a
is, yeah.
kebab? Yeah. That I mean that's got all the food groups that I need: meat, rice. That's it. That's all I need.
There you go.
And but yeah, we haven't even talked about candy like sweet candy like Smarties. Because there was always one Smartie in there that just tasted just perfect. Okay, yeah, it's just good food. I mean, to me, food is the one thing that brings everybody together, regardless. And like Major Rich and PB were talking about moon pies. There is nothing like a moon pie and an RC Cola or a moon pie and a Dr. Pepper. Nothing like it. Again, it's a glucose killer.
It is. Have you tried I've seen banana moon pies.
Oh, they're good.
Are they? I've not. See, I'm not a banana lover.
Oh, I know what Pente is talking about. The Smarties. They came. They're like M&Ms, but they're in a
Yeah.
ball and they come in a long tube or
No,
a
no, no, no.
cellophane, aren't
They're
they?
just like M&Ms. They come. They look like M&Ms. They're just made by a different company. So
But they don't come in
M&Ms
a
is
bag, do they? Don't they come in a
yeah,
long
yeah.
strip? Oh, really? Because I remember we used to get those for Halloween.
No, you're talking. Maybe those were called Smarties too. Yeah, they're kind of like the dried. They're kind of like Tums, except with more sugar, right?
Oh, or you could go into what was that? Oh, it was a black and white wrapper, and it was nougat with like almond in it.
Zaz. Just so
Whatever
with
it
a Z.
was, if you did it the wrong way and you tried to chew it, you'd pull your teeth out.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, that's not Zaz. They still have Zaz.
Big with
Hunk. Hunk. Big hunk.
That's it, big hunk. That's
Big
it.
hunk. And you could freeze them and smack them. That what was the other thing you would freeze? They would tell you to freeze. It was really long, and it was like nougat with chocolate over it.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Well, we have a big argument here. To me, the flavor profile of a Reese's peanut butter cup changes when you put it in the freezer.
That's got to
See,
be hard though. Can you
oh
bite
no,
in?
no, 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 no. It adds a little bit more of a saltiness to it, and it's amazing because unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
Charleston's too. That's another one.
Oh, that's it.
But yeah, the Reese's peanut butter cups when they're frozen, oh, they're amazing. But we have that argument
Okay.
here.
So these things I'm used to. They we call them elephant ears. Do you have and
I
see,
have
I
no
don't know
idea what
what's
that is.
regional and what's not. So it's exactly what P Beat's talking about. It's like a flat dough, but big, and they put it into oil, and it's basically like they're cooking this. I don't know. It's a big hunk of dough, and then you take it out, and then you cover it in cinnamon sugar, and then you're eating this thing with the sugar, getting all over your face and your fingers. It's kind of like a fair food type of thing.
Yeah, we have
But
something similar in Mexican cooking. It's called a sopapilla, where
wait,
it's
doesn't sopapillas have the holes? You put the
well, they don't
honey
have a
in.
hole. They just puff up when you cook them,
Yeah.
and then you open them up, and then you pour honey.
Yes.
Yes,
Do you know that Mexican restaurant in Denver that's super
yes, I was
famous?
there last week.
Listen, smartass. No, it's even on what the hell's that cartoon? It's called Casa Bonita,
Okay.
and it's the most. I don't even. It's kitschy and it's old, and we used to go there when I was a kid, and the food was awful, but the inside of the restaurant was this showcase of they had a waterfall that went into a pool, and sometimes you'd get divers that went up and
Oh my
held like
God.
torches and go down. They had like Black Bart's cave that you walk through as a kid
Oh,
and
geez.
all of this stuff. What's that cartoon though that's set in Denver? Anyway, they've done shows about it.
Oh, wow. Well, see,
Anyway, but
Mexican.
they had sopapillas, not
Right.
bottomless sopapillas. You put the flag up when you're done with your meal, and they brought the square things, and they had the
Hmm.
honey on the table. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we used to have a place called Ponchos, and that's the same type of thing. When when you'd want more, you just put the flag up, and they'd come over and give you all kinds of stuff. South
South
Park.
Park. That's it. There's a South Park episode because um, the guys I think are from Denver, and the show is set there, and they were going to shut down this restaurant. And they kind of helped bring back and make it more popular again, and got
Hmm.
it reopened up and all that stuff.
Well, it's amazing, how food, and that's the one thing. I mean, if the food could probably solve all the world's problems, just get people at a table and just let them eat food from different areas and stuff like that. Although that being said, when I went to Vegas, and you've been there too, and you go to the Coca-Cola Museum or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
what gets me
Yeah.
is when you're starting to taste the Coca-Cola from different parts of the world, and you taste some of it, and you go, nobody's taste buds can be that different. They
No, wait,
they
you're
can't.
not from Georgia. How can you call every soda Coca Cola? That's a
Well,
Georgia thing, isn't it?
I don't know.
Are
Is
you
it
soda or pop?
soda?
Yeah, you're wrong.
We call it soda. You
Okay,
call it pop. So
pop.
the favorite cake. Wow. To me, it's a toss-up between German chocolate and red velvet. Those are, with a nice cream cheese frosting.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't think I care other than when I met my wife, she lived in an apartment near Whole Foods,
Mm-hmm.
and I discovered Tres Leches cake.
Mm-hmm.
And if they make it just right, so it's super moist, and that would be
We
my.
That's a big
Yeah.
one down here. That Tres Leches is a
I
huge one
was
down here.
a bread pudding
Oh,
aficionado. I used
oh,
to love
really?
to. Yeah.
Well, Sharon's brother lives in Columbia, Louisiana, and we went to this little dive place down by I forget which river it was, but where you buy buckets of crawfish and eat that. But they had a peach bourbon bread pudding that was
Okay. Yeah,
unbelievable.
that would be
In
awesome.
fact, in fact, Sharon actually made it. I mean, she liked it so much she reverse engineered it.
So
Banana
so
cream pie.
PB asks our favorite cake, and then he says key lime pie. Dude's got to back off the scotch a little bit, I think. My favorite cake is pie.
Is it? You don't like? You're not a
No,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. PB's saying. He's asking
Right.
about cake.
Well,
And then he
let's
said
let's
this is
okay.
that.
Let's go around the horn and ask people. We always kind of seen it. What's your favorite cake?
That's what I was saying. It's got to be the tres leches. Otherwise, I don't care that much. It's
Okay, so let's move on to what's your favorite pie. For me, it is coconut cream. That's my
yeah.
favorite. Now, my better half likes apple pie with a slice of cheese on it. I can't do that.
I've heard of that.
I
I've
can't
never
do it.
done it, and I need to try it sometime. Probably an apple pie. I'd much rather cookies are my thing. I'd trade almost any other dessert for
What's your
some
favorite
cookies.
Japanese? Okay, all right, Sam. What is a Japanese cheesecake? And don't you dare say a cheesecake made
Cheesecake
by
from
made by.
Japan. Strawberry. Now there you go. A good strawberry shortcake is hard to beat if it's freshly made biscuits, especially if they're still a little bit warm. And then you put on the fresh strawberries that have been soaking in sugar, and then fresh whipped cream. That's delicious.
Hey, is your glucose monitor tingling right now? Because mine is. Pecan, however you want to say it. That's actually
Chopped?
good too.
What the hell is this?
What?
Chopped fruit cake? Or do you mean cake? Is she just rather have a bowl of fruit with whipped cream on top?
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's pretty
All
much.
right. That's the thing.
So okay,
Pecan
so
pie. That's yeah. I respect with the whole I guess they're half pecans on top.
right. So I'm still waiting for Sam to say what a Japanese cheesecake is.
He just flies by with these comments to rile you up, and then he's gone.
Other than coconut cream, the cheesecake has to be like a French silk cheesecake. It can't be that thick New York style cheesecake. I don't like that. I like the French
Oh, so
silk
you're not
stuff.
into Cheesecake Factory cheesecakes?
Well, actually, the only one I like there is the banana cream one, the banana cheesecake there.
And I don't know if we let PB back in. I mean, he's a Scotch drinker, so I kind of saying he's my guy. But then he pulls out this stuff that's very specific, like he's like flying around the world, experiencing this thing here and that thing there. And
Well, see, that's just another thing. Like people love fruitcake. Either I've never had good fruitcake because I just can't do it. I
Right.
can't do it.
PB let me down here because it's Bananas Foster. Should be Bananas Foster at this hotel in Houston during Christmas. It's self-explanatory Japanese cheap. All right. Thank you for playing.
So if you had to pick one, okay, let's say that you had to pick one, it was your last meal, including appetizer,
Whoa,
dessert, appetizer, main dish, and dessert. What would it be?
Off the top of my head, the appetizer would just have to be like a nice house salad with a nice blue cheese dressing with chunks of blue cheese in it.
Thank you. Okay,
Love
can you say
that.
that? I want you to look into the camera
Chunks.
and then say, Tig Lily, there is no dressing like blue cheese. Or one step further, Roquefort.
I've never heard of Roquefort dressing.
Oh, it's blue cheese on steroids.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'd go for that. That's the thing, right? You need the intent. You got to bite into a chunk of cheese. while you're
Yes.
eating the salad.
Yes.
And then I guess I've gotten more mature because my first immediate thought was going to be nachos. You can't go. It's hard to screw up nachos. I
True.
could eat those almost every day. But last meal would have to be the old filet mignon, cooked perfectly with a baked potato that's cooked. Where you get the outside crunchy skin with salt on it, and then the butter and all that. Maybe a side of sautéed mushrooms. Some nice either a high-end scotch or
Cabernet.
Cabernet. Yeah.
And
you
how
can't go
about for
wrong with
dessert?
that. That's what's tough. My go-to, I would if I could only pick one dessert the rest of my life, it would be a I said I never heard of Roquefort dressing. Never heard of Roquefort dressing. But it would be a white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookie, but that wouldn't go with that meal. So I'd have to pick
No,
like
but
a
remember, this is your last meal, so you can pick what you want.
oh my last meal.
Yeah.
Well, then it might be that. For the last meal though, that's a
But you
tough
gotta
one.
have
It might be Oreo.
you gotta have some bacon in there.
Might be no. I'm not a. See, that's the thing is these guys that
Careful,
want to put
careful,
bacon on
careful.
everything.
Oh,
Not for me.
bacon is a food group.
Not for me.
So if I was to have my very last meal, it would be wow. That is a tough one. I asked the question, and now that I'm put on the spot, I would have to say
Well, see, there's a
it'd have to
difference
be
between last meal
it'd have to be
and
sushi. It'd have to be sushi. It'd have to be.
what?
Yeah. Salmon sushi. It'd have to be.
Salmon sushi.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you ever come out here, we'll take you to the sushi place with the little robot that serves you drinks and
Oh, is that the one where you
sushi.
kind of grab the plates right off the conveyor belt?
Yeah, and not that it doesn't keep going, but you order what you want and they make it and it shoots out and stops at your table.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. There was a movie that Tom Selleck did with Gene Simmons that had that. It was like it was in the future, and he walked up. It was in an outdoor movie venue or outdoor food court venue, and he said California roll and sushi, and it was like a sushi bot, and it made the sushi for him.
Now, see here, Scotch and macadamia cookies. I
Oh,
gotta try that because I've been, sometimes I get those little Scottish cookies and have with my Scotch. I bet it'd go do very well with a white chocolate
okay,
macadamia cookie.
okay. Did you under? I don't know if Sam is having a stroke because I have no idea what this means.
Well, I know what curry is.
Well, I know what curry is, but I don't know what curry chana and aloo is.
I don't know. He makes us look stupid, doesn't he? This guy. He knows it all. He
But
knows it all. Look,
the chana sounds Indian. Now, what did Pantea mean? Is she talking to this Dave or you?
yes, that you wouldn't be sushi. Look, she thought you'd be
Oh,
meat and taters.
no, actually, no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we'll have steak every once in a while, but no, it's I could eat sushi 7 days a week, 3 times a day. Yeah.
All right.
Curried
Curry.
garbanzo beans and see Sharon would like that.
Oh, I think we ordered that. I never. I think they've toned it down the Indian in this area because I never ate Indian in my life. Went out twice w- to Indian while we were dating, and both times, like I'm out at the restaurant, right, and can't eat any. It's just so freaking hot. But
Hmm.
now, that's one of the. I guess it's like white people Mexican, it's white people Indian food, just the buttered chicken
Well,
and the
let me
big
let,
hunks
let
of
me ask
bread
this
and
because I know in fact we were having Sharon and I were having this conversation at lunch today. So, when you're talking about Persian food versus Indian food, I didn't realize that there is a huge difference. I mean, a huge, huge difference.
yeah.
So, is Persian food more meats, grilled rices, or
Now, see, I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm answering from my wife, who's Persian, and I'm as white as can be. But no, I would say, and I told her this when we started dating. Most of Indian or Persian food is always, rice, and then some kind of a stew. They have lots of different stews, um, which, you know, I gotta be careful what I say here, Dave. Well, I told her this
well,
that
then
I
just
was kind of
ask.
surprised.
Well, you can save yourself and just say Pentea. Give us an idea of a regular Persian meal because we have a place that we haven't tried yet. It's called the Persian Room, and it's really
Yeah,
high class. And we want to go, but I have no idea what to order because I looked at the menu and I was like, I have no
yeah.
idea what this is.
Well, I would say there's two categories, right? And it seems like most of the day to day is rice and some kind of a stew. And that's what I teased her about is that there's not a lot of variety in Persian food. It's rice and stew, and you've got six different stews. But yeah, see, there she is, rice and stews. Or you do kebabs, and you've seen that before. That the,
Mm-hmm.
the one that we talk about is the ground beef kebab,
Mm-hmm.
but then they also have filet mignon kebab, and where you have chunks of meat and chunks of
Mm-hmm.
chicken and chunks of lamb, things like
Right.
that.
It sounds amazing. I mean, it
Yeah.
just sounds just hugely amazing. But it's amazing where like in Pennsylvania, where my dad was from, they love Scrapple.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Scrapple is
Never
just
seen
a
it.
amalgamation of different, pig lips, pig hoofs, beef, but it's so good. You can eat it for breakfast. You can eat it for lunch. You can eat it for dinner. But see, as far as being experimental with foods, there's nothing I won't try. Nothing whatsoever I won't try. Because to me, that's what's fun.
Except for tapioca, huh?
Well, no, I've tried tapioca, and yeah, to me it's like eating termites in gravy. It's just no.
Ah,
And see, if Persian food has rice in it, I am all in. It doesn't
oh,
matter.
it's
You could
always
just
every meal.
Yeah, you could just throw it at me and say, okay.
Which is crazy because you mentioned kind of diabetes just
Hmm.
slightly on the periphery, but you got to wonder like Persians, Mexicans,
Asian.
Asians, where it's like rice every meal. Maybe you know how are they not blasting out their pancreas?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well, that's
Interesting though.
well, that's just it. I mean, you think about that, and it's like, wait a minute. How come they can do it and we can't?
Yeah, well. All right, buddy.
Oh, fragrant basmati rice. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
just
it's not
amazing.
rice cooker rice. That's for
No.
sure.
Basmati
Yeah.
rice is the best. In fact, the other day, I do this sometimes, is I'll see something on YouTube or I'll see something on TV, and they had this thing called Korean egg rice. I had no idea what
Mm,
this was. So
never heard of it.
I looked at everything, and it's basmati rice with and you cook the rice, and then you put sesame oil, soy sauce, green onion, 2 eggs, and sesame toasted seaweed, and that's it. Oh, it was so good. It
That'd
was
be good.
so good.
Yeah, there's some suggestions here. Less sugar, probably less fast food. And that's well, at least with the Asians, right? It's a lot of fish, which is really good for you.
Hmm.
The Mexicans, I don't know how they live past 20 though, right? Because
No,
it's
because everything's fried.
beans and right. It's like
Yeah, yeah, and their chimichangas are like a foot and a half long. You know,
yeah.
but it's good food.
All right, buddy. We
Well,
we gotta
guys,
go
thank
eat.
you. Well, that's that. No, we already ate, so we went to
Oh, I
that
see.
Indian. We
I
went to
see.
that Indian buffet. So
Did you have the little balls for dessert that is in the sugar water?
they didn't
They
have
had that.
those. But they have
Oh,
this. They have this fried tandoori fish. Oh, it's so good, and I finally got Sharon
hmm.
to try it today. But she likes the chicken tiki marsala. That was nice, and it's not too spicy. And see that there's the key right
Oh,
there. Pantea just
oh,
said that they had
dude,
nothing frozen at home. Everything
their
was
food
fresh.
prep is insane.
Yes.
Like everything from scratch, sitting at the table with the table full of herbs where they're picking off the leaves to prepare for the meals and
But think about
all that.
but think about that. In Pantea, you tell me if I'm wrong. The fact that everything was from scratch and everything, you probably had everybody around a table doing the prep, and it was not only just prepping food; it was actually social as well, and it brought the families closer together. I would assume, maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume that the Persian families are very tight, and a lot of it is related around when food prep starts happening, and that's what we're missing because now it's all take it out of a box, and I would imagine, yeah, everything fresh. Now, is Persian food have a lot of mint in it at all, or no?
I don't think mint, right? No, lots of basil.
Okay,
Um, the sister.
but see, we didn't talk about. Yeah, see, the sisters always yelling. See, to me, growing up as a latchkey kid, and I'm sure Pantea can understand that, you miss that, and you get to see it around the holidays, where the whole family gets together, and everybody's just prepping food. And to me, you get that in the Mexican, especially around the holidays when we're making tamales and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, we didn't mention pizza. That's for another show because
I was
that's
I was debating, and I was gonna put that up there, saying we could spend an hour talking about pizza.
oh yeah, because everybody has their own specific likes on pizza.
And maybe we need to do it. We mentioned, so we need to start wrapping it up. But we mentioned that we've got a guest we're both thrilled and really
Yes.
looking forward to having. It's a scheduling thing because he happens to be a YouTube, compared to a superstar, right?
Yes,
As
yes.
well as an expert in an area that we want to talk about.
Hmm.
And he is live at the same time we're live, so
Right.
we gotta work that out. If
Well,
we don't work that out, maybe we can talk about pizza.
yeah, but see, right, Pantea is she's checking off every box. There's one stew that has mint, parsley, cilantro, fenugreek, green onion. Oh my lord! I mean, that's like I think I'm Persian. I
But
think
you
I
haven't
may
had
have.
it yet.
It doesn't matter. Just based on that alone, that's all
So
I need to hear.
you need to go to the Persian restaurant and just say, pick something for. We haven't tried any Persian food. Pick something for us and see what happens.
Yeah, because I mean, it's got really good reviews. It's got really, really good
Yeah.
reviews. We just haven't been there, and it's in the middle of a neighborhood. It's weird. It's just in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, well, on behalf of Dave and Dave, we'd like to thank all of our barflies for being in. This has been actually, it went a lot further than I thought it would because that was an idea. But it's neat to talk about food. And if you guys have any, ideas for shows when we don't have guests, please let us know because we'd be more than happy. As you can see, we can talk about everything. And I will, Pente. I'll send you the menu and I'll send you the link to the restaurant and stuff like that. So anyhow, for everybody here, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. We'll let you know as soon as we have that guest because it'll probably be a Tuesday or somewhere in that, and we'll let you know when. And then we may, depending on what happens, adjust our schedule accordingly.
Yeah. All right, brother.
So, all right, brother. You guys have a great night, and thank you so much for joining us. And like I said earlier, please, please, please tell your friends, tell your dogs, tell your cats. Please subscribe to Drinks and Daves on YouTube. And I hope everybody has a great night. Good night, everybody.
Night.